Well, hello and welcome back to the Dissertation Guru. I'm Dr. Brian Martin, and today we're going to be talking about a draft on a purpose statement. And in this video, this is going to be essential for your success if you are just getting started, potentially with writing your dissertation, with writing your master's thesis, your doctoral project. Perhaps maybe you've looked over a little bit of literature and you're trying to narrow down a topic and a study focus. And so we're going to talk about how we can get this purpose statement off to a good start. Although we know, as the name states, it is a draft. This statement likely will change as you go throughout your study, but you have to start somewhere. So let's get going. And we're going to think about this statement as a recipe. And recently, I had the privilege of working with my 4-year-old child in the kitchen, and we actually made the cake that you're seeing here on the screen. This is a caramel cake, and I have to say, I am a little biased, but I'm very proud that I was able to make this cake, and it actually looked halfway decent. And so I had to share that with you today. But in the process of the joy of working with me and my son, I thought, this parallels to the process or to the research process. And so just like the steps, there are steps in making this cake. There were steps in baking it. You had to set the oven to a certain temperature. You had to have all of your ingredients laid out, set, and prepared. I did not, get my son in the kitchen as a 4-year-old, have the mixer laying there, and then go check the recipe book and say, hey, I may need to run over to the local grocery store and pick up each item individually. That doesn't even make sense. And so what I did, I had everything organized and I had all of my supplies that I was going to need, or the ingredients that I were going to need, in order to be successful. And you can see that this resulted in a positive cake that you see here. Now, just like making that cake, there are steps and there are processes that can help you identify and clearly articulate how to draft a purpose statement. So as you're getting started and as you are trying to determine a topic for your dissertation, and you're like, well, I don't really know where I want to focus on narrowly. However, I have an idea of something that I would like to research. And so where I would like to challenge you is to first start looking at the available literature that is on your topic. And so you always need to start with, what are the researchers recommending for future research? And so even if you have not had a chance at this point to dive deep into the literature on the topic that you are interested in, you can go to the end of those articles and there is going to be a recommendation for future research. And so the how of your study is going to be, what type of study are the researchers suggesting? And it may mean that there has been a previous quantitative study conducted and the researchers would like to make that data more rich, more wordy, more opinionated and validated through more of a verbal instead of a quantitative nature. And so what they may do is they may recommend that same exact study to be conducted in a qualitative form or format. And so how you go about doing this, that's your first step. You ask yourself how. Now, the second step is the who. So who are you actually wanting to study? Number 3 is the what. What are you wanting to research about this particular person, this group, or in this community? And the fourth step is, where do these group of people, and where does this population live? Now, we're going to break each one of those steps down into each step that you have here. And in addition to that, in the description below, certainly click on a link and you're going to be able to download a free guide that you're going to be able to take step by step and use this to help you formulate a solid purpose statement where you can reduce getting those revisions back from your chair, from your committee members. And so let's dive off and get started with the how. So remember again, with the how, we're talking about what type of study are the researchers suggesting. And as I stated previously, this is an example of a qualitative study that I actually conducted. This was my dissertation. And my purpose statement for the how section was a qualitative, interpretive, phenomenological analysis. That's a lot of words, and they may not mean, too much to you right now as you're just getting started. But I really encourage you to do a brief review. I say brief, it's not going to be brief whenever you actually start writing the literature review. However, at this time, you're just trying to look briefly at what the researchers are suggesting. What data do we have available right now, and what do we need to do to build on that, to find that gap, if you will, in the research? And so that would justify or help solidify our proposal to actually conduct this study. And so in my dissertation, I did it on school nurses and the fact that in every school district, in an elementary school, there always are not RNs at every school physically on site. And so my entire study was on the perceptions of non-medical school employees. And so in that instance, I was looking at secretaries, I was looking at school administrators, teachers, and I wanted to determine their perceptions, their ideas, their thoughts. And so, then I wanted to take those thoughts and compare that, with, the school nurse data that was already available. And so that was exactly what an interpretive phenomenological analysis actually was able to do. And so that was a good example of understanding the how. What I'm trying to study, how am I going to actually conduct this methodological study? Now, once you've determined that if either it's going to be qualitative, it's going to be quantitative, it's going to be a mixed method study, you need to look at the who. Who are you actually wanting to study? And as I just stated, in my case, when I was writing my dissertation, I was very interested in interviewing through a semi-structured interview the secretaries at the schools, the counselors, the principals, the faculty. And so my primary audience, as it states here, were non-medical elementary school employees. And I want to point out a moment here that I was not vague in that statement. And some of you may be struggling to really understand who are you actually looking for in your study. And I'm going to say that until you are able to solidify that, it's going to constantly be a struggle. And so that was my whole purpose of creating this video, to help you, was that you can take this step by step, and then ultimately use this at the very end to formulate you a purpose statement. Although it may change, but you can take this information, dig deeper into the literature, and talk to your chair and your committee members, and hopefully get this into proposal state. So the third point is the what. What are you wanting to research about this particular person, group, this community? Why are you interested in this group? Why are the researchers encouraging you to do an additional study on this? And so what I was looking at whenever I was conducting my dissertation, I wanted to understand the perceptions of these non-medical employees. How do they feel about caring for these children with chronic medical conditions whenever there is no school nurse that is available? And so it resulted in a statement: perceptions on caring for children with chronic medical conditions in the absence of a school nurse. Do you see how direct, how clear that is? It leaves if you're reading that and you don't know me, and you are just, going behind me as in my study, and you read that pretty much has no there's no way of like wondering where am I trying to go, or am I blindly reaching out at this. I'm clear, I'm concise. So now let's move to the where. So we've talked about the who, we've talked about the what, the how, and now we're going to finally understand where we're going to do this study. So where did these people live? Where did these people work? And in my case, they were a public elementary school system within the southeastern United States. Do you see how that just sort of, in my view, that just sort of paints and wraps the bow up on this big gift that we've been building up step by step by step. And in the case of my cake, this is that icing on that caramel cake that sort of just solidified and it sealed the deal that, I'm interested in this particular group of population, this particular population in this southeastern United States. And so that is very clear, and it leads people who are going behind me and looking at my research to perhaps add to that. They're exactly familiar with each step of and could pick up from this and build upon my research. But however, there's even a more greater point that I want to point out. If you don't start out at this point by making your purpose statement clear, concise, defined by who are you looking at, where are you going to do this, when are you going to be doing this, do you plan to do this? And again, I've said this about 3 or 4 times, you likely will change, but you have to be able to start somewhere. And if you are new to the research process, you're probably overwhelmed. You do not need to do something that's going to extend the period that you have available to actually conduct your research. I know that the whole goal is trying to get out of your graduate program or doctoral program and move forward where you can graduate. And so by being concise, by being organized, by taking this statement, you are then going to be able to ultimately have the result, which is this exact statement that I'm about to read. And this was my exact purpose statement for my dissertation. And it states, quote, "The purpose of this qualitative interpretive phenomenological analysis is to examine the perceptions of non-medical school employees on caring for students in the absence of a school nurse at a public elementary school located in the southeastern United States." Do you see, my friend, how clear, how concise that just sort of painted that entire picture? That was the icing. And now I was able to take that purpose statement, and it changed, by the way, multiple times in order to get to that point that you're reading there on the screen. So don't get discouraged. You're going to take this and you're going to be able to come up with that. But you can see how going step by step by step, you're able to take this overwhelming process of writing a project, of writing a dissertation. Nobody does it all at one time. Everybody has to take this step by step. And so I just encourage you, I hope that this was helpful. I hope it's resourceful. Again, please go in the description below and grab my free guide that is going to take you step by step of everything that I have just shown you. And I hope this is helpful to you. Please please subscribe to my channel and share this with additional people if you feel that it has helped you. I also welcome you to go to my website at thedissertationguru.com. Again, that's thedissertationguru.com. You can schedule a free consultation with me, and I'll be happy to see how I could help you in any way possible. I offer one-on-one coaching for dissertation. I offer APA formatting, consultations, qualitative, research methodology assistance. And so in any way that I can help you, my friend, I'm here for you. I understand that this is an overwhelming process, but it doesn't have to be, because you have to have somebody on your side who's familiar with this process. And my friend, I'm willing and able to help you in any way that I can. Hope you all have a great day. I encourage you to check out my next video on the literature review.